ask a random person on the street, hey, you know, think of a bonsai. There we go. Okay, we're connected. You say, hey, think of a bonsai. I guarantee you that they're going to be thinking about the Shimpaku Juniper. Whether they know the name Shimpaku Juniper or not, this is the tree they're thinking of. And they probably know it as the Mr. Miyagi tree. So if you're wondering, yes, this is indeed the tree that appears in Karate Kid. All of them are about the same age. So they're all about 10 years old. So they're all going to be roughly, you know, more or less about the same size. It's just going to be about, you know, how it's grown. So number 16 right here is a little bit smaller. You can see it still has a good trunk to it. It doesn't have as many branches, but everything's condensed right now. Also, the nice thing about these particular trees is they're evergreen, meaning that they are going to stay green throughout the entire year. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't drop its needles. Unlike, say, like an apple tree, right? Where every fall it drops all of its needles and it's just a bare stick. This one right here will keep all its needles, except every once in a while, let me see if I can find an example of one. Your tree is gonna look like this. I don't know if you guys can see it where my finger is, but you see that little stem that is browning? Oh, it fell off, okay. But that's normal, okay? What it does is the tree itself, every once in a while will start like browning a needle, right? It'll look completely brown. Don't freak out. So even though it doesn't shed its leaves all at once, it still will throughout the year. Every once in a while, you're gonna see one of the needles start turning completely brown and then fall off. And that's just its way of cycling through the different leaves. When it comes to watering, just look at the soil. If it looks a little wet, you're golden. If it looks a little dry, that's when you wanna water it. I know each tree is a little bit different, but this one likes the topsoil being a little bit drier first. So this guy, if I rub my finger on the dirt, I'm picking up a little bit of dirt, so this guy doesn't need to be watered yet. Later today, tonight, I'm probably gonna check it, and then more than likely it's gonna be dried out a little bit, then I'm gonna water it. As far as sun goes, these do, just like any other tree, they do prefer to have 6 to 8 hours of sunlight. So outdoor ideally, and if it ever gets over 90 degrees, what you wanna do is you wanna put your hand on the pot. You could leave it in this pot if you want, but we do recommend repotting every 2 to 3 years. That's gonna help out the tree. I'm gonna show you guys number 9 again real quick, but that's gonna make sure that the tree stays healthy and you know, doesn't outgrow its stay. Sometimes you're gonna have to go in there and cut off some roots that are growing a little bit too far, but also sometimes you wanna put it in a bigger pot. Especially the more foliage it has, the bigger pot you need. Because a lot of people don't know this, but leaves in general, and mostly broadleaves, but even needles as well, will slowly start losing moisture through their leaves. So just something to keep in mind. But yeah, fertilize it, doesn't need it. The main thing, like if you want to fertilize it, all that's going to do is just to help it grow a little bit faster. And if you're using bonsai soil, which is what we recommend, then you could fertilize it with like these, they have like these little discs of like, you know, compact fertilizer pucks, I guess. You want to put that in like a tea bag and put it right on top of your soil. And then you just water on top of that. So the the roots are going to be getting watered. And also you're basically brewing a tiny little cup of morning tea for your tree every day. You know, so long as they take care of it, they're essentially immortal. Like they will live a long, long time. There's stories about 400-year-old Shimpaku juniper, and they're still alive and going. When it comes to watering, first and foremost, you want to make sure that your pot has plenty of drainage. That is number one when it comes to bonsai. You need to have drainage on your pot, full stop, non-negotiable. That is the main thing. And every single one of the trees has a wire on it already. That way, when you get it in, you could open it up, you could shape it, you could position it, and then you leave the wire on there for about 6 to 8 months roughly. At that point, you could remove the wire. When you remove the wire, all the branches are gonna stay in the position that you left it in. And so the wood itself is gonna become a little bit more firm and a little bit malleable still, but they're gonna stay in the position that you left it in. Now it's funny because a lot of the movement is created via the wire, but you're gonna notice that this one has a zip tie to it. Now the zip tie is there to help it create more of a dramatic bend. So as you see it happening here, because if you didn't have that zip tie there, this branch in particular it's going to start straightening out. And you typically don't want that to happen. Now, when it comes to the wire, like I said, it will be coming with it. But let's say in the future, you want to rewire. Rule of thumb is you want to wire the branch with a wire that's a third, that's a third of the size of the branch itself. You put a wire on there that's too thin, the tree's just going to laugh at you and start straightening out. If you put a wire that's too thick, it's going to start biting into the tree, and you're going to start leaving these permanent marks where the wire was. So we do offer a lot of the wire, and in fact, a lot of bonsai tools. We do offer a lot of those on our channel shop. The main thing I will say, it does a really good job with locking in a little bit of the moisture. However, you don't want to put any of the moss like crawling up the tree itself. It locks itself in, it doesn't let moisture escape, and it starts rotting that piece of wood, and then you're inviting pest or some kind of disease to get into the tree. But yeah, usually keep the moss to the soil. Is it possible to expedite the growth of a bonsai tree? There are two ways to do that, okay? And one of them, you have to understand how a bonsai tree stays small. First and foremost, the tree stays small typically by staying in a pot, okay? So you're restricting the growth of the roots themselves into a tiny pot, so it tells the tree, hey, don't grow that tall. Now, if you take this out of the pot and you put it into the ground, the roots are going to be able to expand a lot further, and it's going to make the tree grow faster. But, like when it's time to repot, you're going to have to take it out. You're going to have to, it's a lot more work because you really have to keep an eye on where all the roots are going. You want to eat it? I don't know how well this will taste, but once you purchase it, I literally cannot stop you. So if you want to eat it, it's $120, free shipping, priority mail. So if replanting into the ground might damage the sewer system, I mean, I don't want to say yes, because like realistically, it's not like the small tiny tree is going to gonna immediately start like choking out the sewer system. If you're gonna do that, you only really want to do it for a couple of months, maybe a year, and that's to give it a boost to the growth. If you're going to replant into the ground, I think you might want to check with the city planner to make sure that where you're planting it, it's like if it's going to be its permanent home, you might want to check with the city planner, figure out what the sewage thing is. But even then, that won't be an issue for like another 40, 50 years when the tree's full size. You know what I mean? You have a bonsai that is literally 3 green leaves. Can you revive it? Do you know what type of tree it is? And I do have a couple of questions. So first of all, what kind of tree is it? Where is it being kept? And I guess, watering is another thing too. So where is it being kept and what kind of tree is it? Those are going to be the main things. Because if you keep it indoors, it may not be getting all the sun it needs. But if you leave it outdoors, the tree itself, the leaves should start getting all the sun that it needs. How long until you stop using wire and you can enjoy the tree maintenance free? Technically, so here's the thing. You're gonna have to, that's one of the things about the bonsai is you're gonna have to do maintenance with it constantly. Not every single day, not every single month, but even if you do nothing else, you do have to repot every other year. And that's because the tree is gonna start getting bigger. You wanna check on the roots, and sometimes you even need to put it into a bigger pot. So technically maintenance free isn't necessarily an actual thing for bonsai. We recommend leaving the wire on the tree for the next 6 to 8 months. And then after that, you're golden. You can go and remove it. The tree's gonna stay in the position that you left it in. Now, I will say the wire's not 100% necessary. You could absolutely, grow the tree, shape the tree without the wire. But instead of like bending it the way you want, you're just gonna cut the branches that are going off in the direction you don't want it to go in. Now, all the trees are $120. It's going to be free shipping with priority mail as well. We want to make sure the tree gets to you fast, safe, and it doesn't stay out of the sun for too long. Now, one thing I do have to mention that I wish this wasn't the case, but if you live in Hawaii, Florida, Texas, Washington, Ohio, Virginia, or Alaska, I cannot ship to you. Unfortunately, it's a whole certificate thing. You know, it has to do realistically, like it has to do with you know, especially Florida and Texas. Like they're big agricultural states, and they don't want any invasive species sneaking in from the trees. We have a lot of different things in the channel shop. So if you're interested in taking a look at different kinds of bonsai, again, we have you know, 3 different kinds of black pines. We have the Shimpaku junipers. We have some white pines, which sell out really quickly. So if you guys want a white pine, let me know. We'll show one on screen. But we have maples, elms, boxwoods, variegated cerisas, apple trees. Let me know. You know, but yeah, check out the shop. And we also have tools as well to help you get you on your journey too.